Are you stuck in a fast food line behind a sweet and sour, condiment packed, picky, complaining customer? There is a less stressful way to get a bite to eat without going to Burger King, McDonald's, or In-N-Out the emergency room burger. Decide to skip the line, and you skip the clogged arteries. Realistically, we pass grocery stores on the way home each day, so why not stop in and pick up a couple of items for dinner? You'll save your money and your health as a consequence. This is The Man's Kitchen. Hey and welcome. Today on The Man's Kitchen, we're doing Southern Buttermilk Biscuits. And I'm talking about the flaky buttermilk biscuits. We made these by hand from scratch, and I'm going to show you how. Just stick around. Hello and welcome to The Man's Kitchen. Now today we're going to be doing buttermilk biscuits. You know those buttermilk biscuits that your grandma used to do, or maybe your great grandmother used to do, that she would put Cairo syrup on there, maybe regular syrup, maybe biscuits and gravy. It's very easy to do, not as hard as you would think, and today we're going to show you using these ingredients. We're going to be using flour, which is all-purpose flour. You don't want to use just any flour like self-rising, because we're going to be adding the rising ingredients into that flour. Now, the rising ingredients are going to be baking soda. Arm & Hammer is a great brand. That's one part. Then we're going to be using baking powder. In this particular time, I'm using what's called Clabber Girl. And for the flour, all-purpose gold medal flour. Probably about the best one I've seen so far if you're doing this particular recipe. And we're going to be using some salt. And in a minute, I'll give you the exact measurements of what we're going to be using. We're going to use some cultured buttermilk. That's 1% low fat. Good. And that will make the biscuits beyond the fact that we're going to put butter on the top when they're made. Okay, so let's get ready. All right, now we are ready to get busy. So we've got the milk, right? That's about 1 1/4 cups of cold buttermilk. Not warm, 1 1/4 cups. So in here we have 1/2 cup of cold butter. So actually butter. You can have salted butter or unsalted. It's up to you by the flavor, okay? And I have the baking soda here. That's 1/2 teaspoon. I have the baking powder here because biscuits takes much more baking powder than they do baking soda. So this is 5 teaspoons of baking powder. And the salt, of course, is 1 1/2 teaspoons of salt. So we want to mix the dry ingredients together first. Mix it all around before we add the wet ingredients and then the buttermilk. And then we'll go to the next station where we're going to roll out the dough and put it in the pan for the oven. Okay? The oven right now, I got it set at 400 degrees. Some people may choose to do it at 450, but biscuits is something that you want to rise quick and then brown last. All right, so let's go ahead and add the salt into the flour. We'll add the baking powder in there. No particular order, just all the dry goes together first. Frugal, get all that out of there. Baking soda. Always be frugal. Okay, so now what I want to do is mix that together. You can use your hand. You do any kind of recipe, you're gonna get dirty. That's what food's about. It's not about looking pretty. Okay, so that's mixed up pretty good. It's not rocket science. It doesn't take all day. Now what I want to do is we want to cut that butter in there. And the reason that the butter is already chopped like that, so you want it to mix into the flour, but not in a mushy way. So that's why the butter is cold in advance. And it's chopped into so many pieces. Because we want to get it to more like I'd say a flour with a gritty sort of feel. Mixture of the two. Because when the biscuits are baking, that flour and butter together, the butter's going to melt into that dough. Okay, so it's gonna be like a little crumbly pieces. So you want to get it all down to just crumbly pieces. Just take your hands and keep pinching them. When you initially start, you'll think that it's not gonna work out, but after a while, you'll see that it is merging with the flour. Okay. Oh, look, you can start to see it already. You'd actually take it and rub it through your hands, whatever way you desire. We just want that butter to be throughout all of that flour so that no biscuit is butter free. That's where you get the flavor of butter biscuits from, is the butter cut into the flour when it is dry, not afterwards. Okay, so there's no easy way to do it. You have to make sure that the butter is cold. You have to take it through your thumb and forefinger and mix that butter into the flour until it becomes a flour type crumbly mix. Not too much butter, not too much flour. This is the way it's been done for hundreds of years. Like I say, this would be the way that your grandmother did it. Now, a lot of people, what they do is they go to the store and they buy that junk in a can, those instant biscuits. That is not a biscuit. I don't know what that is. Now, when you're a kid, that stuff tastes good. But when you get to be older, Now, I've had biscuits from a lot of restaurants, I guess like Cracker Barrel and restaurants like that. And there's still no better biscuit than you could make than this one. Okay, so see, that's all in there pretty good. Now we'll go ahead and add the milk to there. And there's no better way to tell you that you have to get your hands dirty. And that way you can we'll gauge how much milk we're putting in there. Because you want something like a Play-Doh consistency is the best way I can describe it. You don't want it too wet, you don't want it too dry. Now if we did get it too wet, you could always just add a little bit of flour when we're rolling it out. No more to the bowl here, but when it's time to roll out, look at that. Look at that. Now that's real biscuits right there. Add some more of that buttermilk. I've got the oven's nice and warm, it's ready to go. Let's get in there and play. Remember when you was a kid, you didn't worry about being dirty? Your mother said come in here when you was playing in the mud and you came in a house and most of the outside on your body instead of outside where it belonged? This is what it is to make biscuits. Look at it. Okay, so that's looking pretty good so far. We add some more milk. And it's almost being squidgy. All right, that's looking pretty good. Yep, that's looking really good. Look at that. That's looking really good. Okay, so I got that pretty squidgy how I want it. I've got all of the dry ingredients. And try to recover it off my hands here. All of the dry ingredients in that bowl are now part of that function. All right, we're at station 2 now. And what I wanted to show you is some of the things we're going to use to actually bake the biscuits in. Now, at your house, you could either use one of these pans with the high sides. You could use a flat top pan. At the man's kitchen, we have hundreds of these. And to roll out the biscuits, we're going to use a European style roller. A European style roller is more flat. It doesn't have the side handles like the American roller, but either way will do. It's nothing special about it. Now, in the bottom of that pan, we're going to include some parchment paper. You get parchment paper at any grocery store. And opposite of aluminum foil, it's actually a heat-resistant paper. And so I've cut that heat resistant paper to size. And if you can see, there's lines on the paper. So you put it in the bottom of the pan, measure out the pan, and then cut it out with a piece of scissors. With the scissors, okay. So we put that to the side. All of that stuff, we don't need that just yet. It's now time to roll out the biscuits. Roll out the biscuits. Now to roll out biscuits, what you have to have is some flour. So a minute ago you seen the biscuits were sticking to my hand. So that won't do when it comes to being able to manage the biscuits. So we'll use this pan, we'll put that there. This is the dough I did a minute ago. I'll take that and move it around so that way it doesn't stick to the counter. We'll take all of the dough out. And we can go ahead and start to add a little bit of that flour right back to that dough. Now I'm going to need some more flour, so I'll go ahead and be kind of liberal. Don't go crazy with it. Have some to the side if you need it. We go ahead and roll that in. Add some more flour. You'll feel it's a certain medium, moist capacity that you're looking for. Remember, not too wet, not too dry. It's not the worst than a dry biscuit. Now, you see me roll these biscuits around and around. You can't really knead biscuits too much, because in a minute, we're going to start to layer the biscuits. Biscuits are best when they are in layers. Okay? Alright, so I'm using a lot of that flour up, just to absorb some of the excess buttermilk. Alright, so it's got enough flour in it, so we don't need any more. So now what we want to do is start to roll it out. Okay, so the more times we layer this biscuit, the flakier it will be. So you can make regular buttermilk biscuits about as flaky as you can make that cheap stuff in the store. And so you see I'm just casually rolling it out, and then I stretch a little bit and I fold it. Okay? And I'm going to roll it out some more. Now you can roll out in a large enough square to accommodate when the fact that you want to roll it again. When we actually do cut these biscuits, they will be no more than approximately an inch thick, almost an inch thick when we're going to roll it. Okay, so we got some more there. We take it and roll it again. Need a little bit more flour on top. That way it doesn't stick. Okay, so I roll it out again. All of these create layers in that biscuit. Flaky layers. It incorporates that butter into the flour. This is not really hard at all. So I can roll it again. Turn it a little bit, more flour. Just so it doesn't stick to the counter. Roll it out again. Remember, for every time I fold these biscuits, it creates a flaky layer. Now I could just stop right now. See, it would make a difference. But I think we get one more. And so now I'll start to make sure I make it a square. Also, because after this next time, we're going to go ahead and cut it. So I'm aiming for, I'd say about 3/4 inch height before we cut it. There's nothing pretty about it. You don't have to be pretty. Real food takes effort. Real food is messy. All right. So that gives me time to start. See, now what we'll do, I have a cutting set. This is a cutting set. So inside this cutting set of various different size of cutters, from donuts to cookies to big biscuits. You don't need that. This is a non-stick cutter, but you can use a regular glass you have at the house. Add a little bit of butter at the edge of that glass and take the glass and cut the same way you're going to see me here. So what I'm doing is I'm going to stay towards the edge, slightly twist. In some versions you can just press down on it. Line it in the pan there. Follow the same pattern, close to the edge. This is so we don't waste a lot of dough. Now this is you put them right up against each other because they're going to climb and they're going to force each other to grow up. Just like your mom, she forced you to grow up. Grow up. Okay, another one side there. Use the space here. You see I'm trying to stay close. We don't waste anything. There. Sit close to there. Cut. There. Close. Cut. Now this is not going to waste. You can take that right back again, make it into a malleable ball. I need a little bit more flour on the counter there. Go around. Because you don't want to waste biscuits. See how much biscuit dough that is to waste something like that? So we put it back down. I can put some flour on both sides. And what we do is just do it again. Only this time we don't have to fold it into layers because that's already there. Alright, so we're about the same height is what we want to do as the one a minute ago. So you don't have some odd looking biscuits. Alright, so the same way. There. And we make sure to make room in that pan for those biscuits. So we have to get close, as they would say. Get close to make your buddy smile. I'm going to put them off at an angle there. Put another one. And I believe I have room for one more. Yep. One more. And because I'm this frugal person, I don't like to waste, I bet you I get another one out of this last one. Because you have some people at the house, you're like, hey, you got any more of those biscuits? I don't. I threw it out. I wasn't frugal like I should have been. Okay, so right down in the middle. Cut that out. That fat boy goes right there. I bet you I get one more out of that one. I bet you I get the frugal award of the year. I can actually do that one just with my hand around in a circle. Finish off with the roller. Bing, bing, bing. Go down the center. Ha! I'll throw it that way. But this, I'm keeping. Now, we're going to rearrange them. 1, 2, buckle my shoe. There, there. One dar, one hip. One there, and there, and there. Okay. But I'll tell you what we do first. Before we go to the oven, we're going to put a little bit of buttermilk we have left on those top of the biscuits, and that will help them brown very well. Okay? And biscuits is something that you don't need an egg wash for, but you can do a milk wash. And instead of wasting that milk down the drain, we'll waste it on the top of those biscuits. We put it in that oven at 400 degrees, 13 to 15 minutes until we see it brown, and we see you guys back here in a minute. Hello and welcome back to the man's kitchen. Now the biscuits are finished, but I left them in the oven just to brown just a little bit more. Some people like light biscuits, I like a little bit dark. Okay, so here we go. get a nice mitten so we get the biscuits out of the oven, because who wants to burn themselves? Biscuits are brown. People, when they get burnt, they turn brown too. Alright, so we take them out of the oven. See that? You see that handiwork? Oh, look at that. Nice and brown. So while they're brown, we want to put some butter on the top of those biscuits. So I've got some melted butter, some of the same style of butter that we used when we made the biscuits. We just take that and go around. You know, some people use a paintbrush. You don't have to get that fancy. Just use a spoon that you get at the house and go around the top of the biscuit. If you want to, you can cut some little slabs of butter and put it in the biscuit. But just go around each one just like that. Don't be stingy. Okay, till we get it there. And the last one, but not the least one. Yeah, just so we're frugal, we get rid of that. Now, you could always top these biscuits, like I said before, with something your grandma would have used, like I've got right here, the molasses by Grandma's, the Smucker's grape jelly. You got the Welch's grape. I'm sorry, that was Smucker's strawberry. That's not grape. This is the grape. Miss Butterworth's regular pancake syrup. Okay, so what we do is we take one of those biscuits out of there because they're still burning hot. You can see even the bottom is brown. Move that back so I don't get a tattoo. Now what we'll do is cut that open so I can have it with my coffee and my M&M mug. If you want an M&M mug, all you have to do is go to the top of the screen and there's a link to where you can purchase that mug. Okay, so I cut that open. Nice and warm. I think I tried some of the Smucker's strawberry jam, which I called jelly, a minute ago. I'm sure they wouldn't like that. Add some of that there, maybe a little bit more. Go ahead and mash that on the biscuit. Now I guarantee you these biscuits taste better than anything that you can get outside the home. And never give me that stuff about that McDonald's biscuit. That's not really a biscuit. I don't know what that is. But there it is. See the flaky layers? Real biscuit. Real strawberry jam. No, is it good? It's hot. I got my coffee. This is something good to do on a Sunday morning. You got nothing to do. Prove to your friends that, hey, look, I can make a biscuit. I may have dropped out of the first grade in school, but I learned how to make a biscuit. So until we see you next time on A Man's Kitchen, I'm going to be eating these biscuits and maybe just a couple more on this side of the pan. And hope to see you guys again next time.